So what we've unveiled today is a mortgage rescue plan because right across the country we are in the midst of a cost of living crisis where people are seeing energy prices go up, they're seeing their petrol prices go up, their food prices go up, and now they're also seeing their mortgages go up as a result of the incompetence of this Tory government. People are now paying a Tory premium on their mortgages, and what we want to avoid is people's arrears increasing, repossessions increasing, or even the risk of people losing their home and all the risks that come around homelessness from that. And that's why this is a sensible measure which supports people through this difficult period to give them support with their mortgage so people can protect and save their homes. We led the debate when it came to the windfall tax across the UK. We led the debate when it came to a rent freeze and a ban on winter evictions for those that were tenants. But we also recognise that homeowners are feeling pressure right now as well, and we've got to support those people in the midst of this cost of living crisis. We can see from the Bank of England's own statistics that we're expecting to see inflation to continue to rise. Expect to see interest rates to continue to rise. Alongside that, I think you'd expect to see mortgage rates to continue to rise. Unemployment also expected to go up. This is a storm that many families are facing right now, and it's one that's going to get absolutely worse. And we've seen from other agencies, for example citizen advice bureaus, saying that the risk that causes for household incomes and the instability that causes, that means people risking losing their home. And I think it's right for the government to step in to create a scheme for those people that need that little bit more support to make sure they can protect their home and keep their home in the midst of this cost of living crisis. So a scheme like this already exists in the government, but it's not been used in a meaningful way for the last 5 or 6 years. I think that is a waste of resource. Instead, there's around £20 million in the housing budget that can be used right now. We think that this would cost a maximum of 50 million, so we should use the money that's already existing in that pot. And if we do need to go above that 20 million towards that 50 million, there is a surplus in the Scottish National Investment Bank of hundreds of millions of pounds that has not been used or hasn't been spent. We can look to use that capital money to make sure we are taking an equity stake in these homes in order to protect people's mortgages so they don't lose their home. I think the problem we have is we are not yet at anywhere near the peak winter pressures. And in those peak winter pressures, you're going to see even more pressure put on GP practices, you're going to see even more pressure put on A&E, you're going to see even more pressure in terms of on the acute sector, even more pressure on our social care sector. And we are now performing the worst we have ever performed over the course of the last 4 weeks. If you look at the last 4 weeks statistics, the worst we've ever performed in our National Health Service. And that is even before we get to those winter pressures. So the measures being taken by the government are simply not good enough. They're adding to the stress, they're adding to the workload, they're adding to the burden for staff, but they're also meaning negative outcomes for patients. And we've already been told by the Royal College of Emergency Medicine that means excess deaths. That means people whose lives could have been saved, but who are losing their lives because of a failure to properly resource and manage our accident and emergency departments. That's not good enough, it's not acceptable, and it's on the SNP's watch.